welcome back to Installer's Assistant. Today I have a 2008 Toyota RAV4. We're going to be taking his previous Pioneer radio out and replacing it with a newer model with CarPlay and Auto and all the cool stuff that they have nowadays. For this job I'm going to need my Trusty 4140 Pry Tool. You'll find a link to that in the description, and a 10mm socket. My one was left out last night, it's gone a bit rusty. Okay, in the previous install they put the microphone over on the side here. It works quite nicely, but I always try and get them up the top if I can. But we'll see how we go. Now, on these cars, whenever you're working one of these things, if it's your own car it's not such a big deal, but if it's a customer's car, you will need to tell them that this area here has a very high tendency to snap. Now, being this is 2022 and this is 2008, 14 years in Queensland sun, it gets very brittle, and there is quite a few clips up in here. So when you pull this part out, it bends, it snaps. So the best thing to do is tell the customer that it's going to break, or a very high chance of breaking, and they can determine if you want to continue or to leave it. Most are okay because they understand what's going on. So this one's already been broken. Home, yeah. So what we're going to do, I've already mentioned this to the customer. Customer's like, yep, go ahead anyway. So I'm going to use my tool underneath this bottom edge, but I only just want to get it just enough to pop it. I'm not trying to take it out yet. Hear the pop? That's it. That's all I want, because I want to take as little strain as possible through here. We can only try. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, it's going to break. But either way, it's going to be a good video. Let's see if we can get the other side out a little bit. Okay, now let this side released as well. You should just be able to set it free there, but it's only pulled out a little bit. Now I can already see the stress mark right through there. This is going to be fun, just means it's been stressed in the past. Hopefully it will come out. There we go. Nice and gentle. Oh, look at that. Okay, I can't see anything too bad there, so looks like we survived. Side 2, same basic thing, just underneath the bottom edge here, just enough to pop it. There it is. And the other side. Here we go. And again, I can see the stress mark coming through. So it might survive. Oh, we got it. We got it. Look at that. Success. That crack right through there. So it's definitely been fixed before. Things don't always go to plan. You'll see on my channel there's a video on when things go wrong, and it was a Suzuki Grand Vitara, and I put pressure in the wrong spot. Forgot about the brittleness of the plastic, and it snapped, and you'll actually hear me go, oops. So it's a bit of entertainment. That happens. Alright, 10mm nuts, bolts on the side. It's very typical for Toyota to use the bolts, and very typical for them to use 4 of them. If you can, I do recommend a magnetic 10mm. Some cars, they're buried quite a long way back, and it's just easier to stop them from falling down the dash. 3 down, last one right in the side. Here we go. Okay, now strictly speaking this piece will come off, but I just find it easier to take the whole thing out in one hit. And we should, depending on how the last one was done. There we go. Okay, so inside here you can actually see just a yellow clip, and it goes through this piece. So I'm putting pressure behind it to pop it out. There's one on both sides, and there's two on the bottom corners as well. Just like that. Again, rather than just pulling straight, just give it a wiggle, kind of like you got just some sword or something like that. Sounds really bad, but that's the best way. Just nice and gentle wiggles, and it will pop a lot easier without snapping. Okay, what have we got? Antenna plug. No, camera plug. Right. Steering wheel, microphone, power. And that is his aftermarket Pioneer unit in the Toyota cage. So from here we can unscrew it, replace it with our new one. I'm going to go through and double check all the wiring. It's a bit. How you going? Okay, sweet. That's the steering wheel controller. Beautiful. So let's fix that up, get the radio mounted, and we'll continue. So now I've got to wire up the Pioneer harness. The original one that was in there would probably have still worked in this new Pioneer because they didn't change a lot, but I figured I'll show you guys how we do it. These terminals are called, or commonly called Toyota pins. You can see they're flat, there's no holes, they're a very good size, and they are designed to sit beautifully inside a Toyota plug. You can get an actual plug that clips onto there and it has these colours coming out of it. It does make life a lot easier, and then you can just join colour to colour, solder them up, tape them up, and then click one end, click the other end, it's done. If you don't have those facilities, you can also solder on the back of it. A lot of technicians do that as well. You can end up with that. In this situation, I'm going to be using terminals. Okay. All these wires I already know, so I know where they will go. But I can show you. So this is your main power wires. Speakers this side, power this side. Your ground wire is in the middle. You'll also see this little extra green wire on the Pioneers. That is a handbrake cable. And over here we can just ground that, and it tricks the unit into thinking that the handbrake's on all the time. Next to that is our electric antenna, or powered antenna. This next one along is the illumination, so when you turn the park lights on, it dulls the radio, if the radio has that facility. Up here is our accessory wire, when you turn the car on and off, and then permanent wire, which retains the memory. On the other side is our front speaker wires. Now these are all standard colours you find on almost every single radio, probably except your imported ones. Pink and purple, that's front left. I can tell you now the purple is negative, which is at the bottom, white stripe, white with black stripe, and the pink is positive, which is white. Next one along, blue and green. Blue is negative, which is grey and black, and the green is positive, which is grey. That's that plug done. Then we move over to our rear speakers. Okay, that's where people get messed up. They tend to think yellow, permanent power, black, ground, red accessory. They wire up the radio and then go, oh, it's not working, it's not turning on, it must be faulty. I've had a few people return radios because of that very reason. These are speaker wires, not power wires. You can never assume that a yellow wire in a car is permanent. Alright, so red is the right hand side positive, which is purple. The white is the negative, which is purple black stripe. And then on the other side, yellow and black is left. In this case, black is actually positive, which is green, and the yellow is negative. If you get it back to front, one speaker's pushing, one speaker's pulling, and you won't get any bass. They need to both be doing this. This last one is a previously installed camera, so this is my reverse trigger. Cool. Now because we're using terminals in here, I'm going to wrap them up in some tape to make sure they stay nice and solid. Okay, and then we can mount the radio. While I'm in here with the wiring, a few things that I do is I generally tend to not wrap up everything unless it's completely soldered. This gives me access to checking things both on the vehicle side and on the car side. It also means I can remove everything. If you're wondering what this one is, this is the steering wheel control wires. In Toyota they use 3 wires and they connect to the steering wheel, and this is our jack which goes into the back of the radio. The previous one had a PAX-WE module because the radio they put in didn't have a learning facility. This one does, so I can actually tell the radio what to look for. Cool. I have already run our microphone right along the top there, so I've tied it down and through, which is what this wire is, and I've already run our USB. So let's grab our radio and start plugging some of this stuff in. Rear camera input on a Pioneer is brown. Almost every other manufacturer uses yellow. Pioneer uses brown. And again, I've seen people come in plugging it into the yellow one going, it's not working. That's why. Antenna in the end. Pioneer, they typically use a 2.5mm jack, not a 3.5mm jack. Make sure that's all the way in. USB. What else we got here? Auxiliary we're not using. Speakers, signal we're not using. There is my jack. Oh, I know what I've got undone. This doesn't have a jack wire. There's my steering wheel wires. Alright, so I'm going to go take a step back because I wired up a jack and I'll have to tape it onto here. So I'll take care of that. So we're back again. We'll have a crack at number 2. I have now rewired the steering wheel jack. I'd completely forgotten that most cars have a 3.5mm jack for the steering wheel wires. Pioneer gave me bare wires, which is good in a sense and it's bad in a sense, but it really doesn't matter. So that's all been rewired now to my steering wheel plug, and this goes into the back of the radio. So now that's taken care of, we can finish our installation. Like I said, camera plug is brown. Antenna, microphone, almost like we've done this before. USB, and our main wiring harness. Tackle this over the back, out of the way. Our 2 cables are on the side, and it should just line up. Yellow plug, 2 holes, and click. Right, before I go screwing that thing in, let's get some accessory and make sure this works. We have power, that's a good sign. Not in English. Alright, Pioneer units. Before you do anything else, go into your settings. Look at this. Not in English. Del sistema idioma inglés. Only because I've been there before. We can set the date and time later, but while it's in off mode, so it's in standby, okay, no radio, no Bluetooth, nothing's turned on. Go into our system settings, steering wheel control. Okay, every time you lose the battery, you're going to have to do this. Okay, Now I've gone bare wires straight into the steering wheel, so I don't have an adapter anymore. Without adapter is correct. And there we go, steering wheel control. And now I can learn it. So if I try volume up, okay, fine. Let's volume up. That's on. This thing's playing silly buggers. Let me have a play, I'll get back to you. I know what I did wrong. The one you want to learn, you press and hold. Now it's lit up, and then on the steering wheel, I can press and hold that button, it changes to blue. Steering wheel down, steering wheel down. Track up, track up, track down, track down. And he's got a mode button on here. I might cheat because I'm going to use the microphone button. Do that. Mainly because once you start using CarPlay and Android Auto, you generally don't change from that, and everything's done by speech. So I've made that the speech button. Cool. Come back right out of there, and if I turn the radio on, I should have volume down, volume up, seek up, seek down. Beautiful. Now I can do some more settings, and we'll do a final test. Alright, so the radio's in. I've checked the microphone by plugging my phone into it. We'll give ourselves some ignition, trunk into reverse, and we have reverse camera. That is exactly what we want. We have steering wheel controls working. Beautiful. Now, as hard as it was taking these things out, it is almost as delicate getting them back in. A lot of people will snap this one off or this one off just to make it easier, but if you choose not to and you just want to keep everything as close as possible, plug it in, line it up. But again, don't just push it in, it's all nice and steady, all even pressures right the way around, like that. Same with the other side. Click on the plug. Okay, all of it's lined up, nice and steady, preferably not in the top corner, and just click. And that is done. If you have any questions, by all means send me a comment down below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you click on the notifications, like with everything else, any more videos that come up you will get to see. Thank you for watching.